In the still of the night, I think of you.
Star came out of the bathroom, and it dawned on her again that she didn't have a change of clothes, and the one she had hanging in the closet was inappropriate to wear around a construction site, but she didn't have a choice. So wrapping herself in a sparkling white large towel, she came out of the bathroom to get her dress. Appropriate or not, she didn't have any other option. Stanley was nowhere to be seen, but she could hear the hum of his voice as he spoke on the phone from the balcony. Then she saw on the bed a shredded bomb shirt and a t-shirt. She picked up the shirt and wondered where it came from, but most importantly, whose it was. She looked up as she had the door open and close. If you think I'm going to wear one of your ex's leftover, you have another thing coming. Would you prefer to go naked? Then, I wouldn't mind, but my workers probably would. I have a dress. Oh, but I don't feel like compelling the wind to leave it alone today. And like I said, I don't want other men looking at my wares. Well, no such luck today. I would rather other men get a look at your wares than wear something IJ, Betty, or Eva. It belongs to Eva. Eva? Your best friend. Remember her? She and Charles were here a few months ago. Then she remembered Eva saying they were taking a weekend at Silver Paradise, but she had thought she meant the one in South Africa. She looked at him and was laughing softly at her assumption. He walked up to her. My very own firebrand. He revealed a long, rectangular velvet kiss. You are the first woman I'm bringing here. He opened the box and she saw the most exquisite diamond and ruby bracelet. I'm probably the only one I would ever bring here. She stared at the bracelet, speechless. The red becomes you, she dragon. He delicately removed the ornament from its case. How? When? I was going to give it to you the night before the funeral, but you were out with the doctor, and that reminds me. I'm here to do something about your disobedience, he stated as he took her wrist and clasped the bracelet on. It's beautiful, thank you. She raised her wrist to the reflection of the sun from the window, and it sparkled. I love it. I'm glad you do. He walked into the bathroom. Was she ever going to understand this man? He could make her want to tear at her hair with anger, and the next minute he could make her feel so happy and cherished. She looked at the bracelet again with wonder, smiling as she picked up the shirt and top and matched to the mirror. As she pulled on the shirt, she concluded it was Eva's alright. They were almost the same size, but she was fuller on the hips and had a bigger butt. So the shirt was possibly more indecent on her than it would have been on Eva. She pulled on the t-shirt and saw that it covered the shorts, and she contemplated leaving it like that to make the whole get-up more modest. But it would look cooler if she held it up at the back to reveal the shorts beneath. She was still contemplating when he came out of the bathroom with just a towel wrapped around his waist. She couldn't look away from his ripped body, and the droplets of water glistening on his smooth chest weren't helping at all. She swallowed hard and felt her hands tremble. He was all man and all hers for now, she thought. Like what you see? Not with that hubris. She tried to rein in her lustful thoughts. He laughed and came to stand behind her in front of the mirror. He lifted the hem of her t-shirt and her eyes widened. But there was nothing she could do, nothing she wanted to do to stop him. She was powerless against the force of her own need. I prefer it up, he said, and proceeded to tie the t-shirt behind her. Star didn't know how to feel, disappointed that he was only adjusting her clothes and not taking it off, or relief. As the two emotions warred within her, he finished the task of tying her top and stared at her through the mirror. You are beautiful. How come I didn't notice before? She could only stare at him, mobilized by his aura, the strength of his hands on her shoulder. She wanted to turn around and kiss him, touch and let him touch her, and hold her like never before. But before she could do that, he leaned forward and picked up her phone on the dresser. Easily her face unlocked her phone, and he quickly scrolled to camera and took a shot of them, his amazing shirtless body behind her, one powerful hand holding her waist. and she watched as if in a trance as he set the picture as both her lock screen and wallpaper, so no one would be mistaken. He dropped the phone. He gave her bare neck a big kiss and nip and walked away. She picked up the phone and looked at the picture. Wow, she exclaimed. All the emotions were there in one picture. She touched her short hair and wished she was wearing her wig. What she didn't see was how natural and innocent she looked, how small and fragile she looked in front of him, all the powerful emotions that were present and boldly written on their faces. She quickly sent the picture to him and smiled. She picked up her curly hair and began to brush it. A few minutes later, he came out from the dressing room. He looked hot, so she walked up to him and took his phone, placed it directly opposite his face to unlock it, and she set the same picture as his wallpaper and lock screen, so no one would be mistaken. She smiled at him. Not when you are looking that hot, she added to herself. He looked at his phone and chuckled. She stood on tiptoes and gave him a quick kiss and nip as had won her. I was about to turn away, but he caught her hands. Not so fast. He groaned and kissed her. She melted and strained against him, trying to get closer, and yet she couldn't. So fresh and sweet. He broke the kiss. I am going to enjoy making love to you, he stated and picked up his wristwatch. She admired the watch on him. Yes, she agreed silently. She was going to enjoy being pleasured by him. Shall we? He finally asked. Then she remembered the bracelets. I have to take these off. I don't want to lose them. You won't. He led her out of the room. As he opened the door, they saw Dele waiting for them, leaning on the truck. He handed him some bundles of cash. She watched as Stanley stuffed the money in his man purse or his bag of money, as Helen called it. She frowned and wondered what he needed all that money for. Good morning, ma'am, Dele greeted respectfully. She smiled and responded and watched him get into his truck and drove off. He laced his fingers with hers as they began walking. She loved the sheer splendor of it all, that she forgot to ask about the money. She stood for a moment, enjoying the grandeur of the courtyard. She felt like she was transported in time to 18th century. It was even more astonishing this morning than it was last night, with all its lights and glory. I can't stop staring. He smiled and propelled her forward. Even I am amazed by it. It will be the best of the paradises yet. Where are we going? To get breakfast first. Of course, she thought to herself. A place like this with all the workers should have a restaurant. With all that money, the vendors here hardly use POS. You will see. She didn't want to dwell on it. She was astounded by the magic of her surroundings. Started breathing in the freshness of the air as they walked. She could see that the horticulturist had worked hard, and his handwork was shooting out leaves and colorful flowers. The flower trees were almost half grown. By the time the construction would be done, the trees lining the sides of the road would be fully grown, and the green grass and the colorful flowers would be in full bloom. It would truly be a paradise. I like that you are retaining some parts of the forest. I believe in nature, and our customers might enjoy hiking. Nice. Besides, the snakes and animals should not be entirely driven from their home. What's your fascination with snakes, for crying out loud? Well, I feel if I'm the one being driven out of my home, I would fight too. She laughed. Makes sense. Then she saw it. Ahead of them was a mall, about 2-story, and looked busy. You have a mall already? This one is temporal, and the community needs to sell their wares. They were just a few yards from the building when she saw children running to him. She was confused as they ran to him, and all she could hear were their excited shouts. Mr. Stanley! Mr. Stanley! She watched him brace himself as the fastest of the children reached him and jumped on him. He caught the little boy expertly. She was trying to take in what was happening when she saw the boy had a runny nose, but he didn't seem to mind, as he caught one or two of the other children too. He gave a hug there, ruffled a hair there, but all of got his attention. Then, to her astonishment, he brought out his handkerchief and knelt down beside the boy and cleaned his nose and face. folded the fabric and threw it in the waste bin that dotted the whole area. He looked back and gestured for her to follow him. He couldn't hold her again because he was trying to hold each child's hands as they demanded. Okay, she said to herself, what exactly is going on here? An orphanage? The laborers' children? Or the vendors? She asked silently. Could it be gratitude she had just witnessed? Knowing how generous and kind he could be, he probably would have imparted something valuable to these children's lives to generate such an amazing love and gratitude. Would she ever comprehend this complex man she was dating? Where would she even begin to understand him? She was brought out of her musing when he called to her. She saw that some of the children had dispersed and was talking to a woman. Or to be put more correctly, a woman was blessing in Yoruba language. And he had said amen numerous times that he needed rescue. She chuckled and walked over to him but let him listen to the woman's prayers. Began to inspect the woman's wares. She was frying and selling akara, yam, plantain, and sweet potatoes. She was transported back in time to the first day she had met him. How kind he had been to her, she ran away, crying because of Angela. He had followed her and had offered her his handkerchief too. It was a wonder to see that his kindness had not diminished, rather, if anything, it had grown and expanded. This is my Iyawo, the woman finished for him. Mike showed me the phone. The woman said in Yoruba, Iyawo ekabo. She smiled and greeted the elderly lady. It was not in her culture to kneel for anyone, but if the richest man in Africa could bow to the woman, so could she reasoned. You want some of that? She nodded, and she watched him translate to the woman in Yoruba. The woman packed all that he ordered, and she watched as he argued with the woman about payment. Apparently, the woman didn't want him to pay, but he was insisting. He gestured to the children. She understood that he bought for them too. At the end, he dropped a bundle of money, so much more than what he bought, and they moved on. Wasn't that too much for what you bought? Women like that are hardly scraping by. Sometimes it seems so unfair that some of us have more than we can spend in 3 lifetimes, and some are just... He paused. Let's just say I do what I can whenever I get the opportunity. She smiled at him, trying to bring back tears, threatening to run down her cheeks. She couldn't give any response because her voice would have broken with the kind of tenderness she was feeling. Somehow she knew he understood the woman's pride. The woman would not have accepted the money just like that, so he bought all he could just to retain her dignity. She glanced at him with more respect and love, and he was all hers. She smiled happily. And so it was they moved from shop to shop. She had so many questions, but there would be time enough for that. She couldn't count how many times she had been called a Iyawo and welcomed with genuine kindness. She looked around the shopping mall and saw a display of her durables and dresses and sighed with relief. Change of clothes. I am going to that shop, she told him. Though he was still talking with a group of men, he handed her his man purse. Do you need this? He winked at her and went back to his conversation. The woman had lovely designs and she ended up buying for her mom, Mma, Eva, Helen, and even Amber and Rose were not left out. In the next shop, a man sold lingeries. Amazing, she thought. It wasn't where she would normally shop for her underwears, but she desperately needed fresh ones for the rest of her stay. I heard they are Igbo. She smiled and nodded. You are the luckiest woman alive. The man spoke in perfect Igbo to her. Everyone loves him here, she replied in Igbo. We all do, he saved us. The man showed her some of the bikini pieces. When the construction started, these women would bring their petty wares to sell to the workers through the barbed wire fence. Most times, they had their children selling alongside them. One day, a girl was crossing the road to make some sales, and she was knocked down by a car. Strangely enough, the car didn't come from the site and took off. Luckily, Mr. Stanley was near the fence doing some inspections. He saw what happened and ordered the doctor on site to help, and eventually flew that girl to the city to receive adequate treatment. Or she would have been paralyzed. She smiled, speechless. That was typical Stanley, kind and thoughtful to a fault. After that, he constructed this building and was free. He didn't want another child in an accident or hawking. when they should be in school. So through the Dagogo Foundation and another Rose Foundation, all the children got scholarship to secondary school, and if they wanted to further their studies, there is a provision. He also gave grants, large amounts of grants to all the women to add to their businesses. He finished as he wrapped her purchase. "So you are most lucky, my sister," he smiled as he waved her off. On her way out in awe of the man the world thought she was going to marry. But the journey to becoming his wife was long and hectic. Would the day ever come when she would become his wife? Maybe if she treated him so well. Maybe if she played her card right. If she showed him how much she loved him. Just maybe her dreams would come true. How and what she would do to show him how much she loved him, that was confusion on its own. What is the best way to a man's heart, she asked herself. As if in answer, she saw a woman selling everything she needed to make for her soup. Did he not say Oha was one of his favorite soups? So she entered the shop and bought all she needed, including snail and goat meat, just the way her mother taught her. Feeling happy, she went to find him, after the woman promised to send her purchase to the house. When she saw him again, he was talking to Tinu and a woman she presumed to be her mother. She walked up to him and put her hands around him, feeling territorial all of a sudden. Even though she could see that she had nothing to fear with Tinu, she wasn't his type, yet she felt a little possessive knowing and seeing it written all over the girl and her mom if they wished it otherwise. He introduced her as his fiancée, which made her smile, and she wondered when they were going to start refuting that particular claim. She realized that never was the answer she wanted. She was hoping they would go from pretense to the real thing, and that could actually happen, she said to herself. She only needed to make him see. She stopped to listen when she heard Tinu's mother talking. "You are my daughter's guardian angel. Without you, she never would have walked again." He smiled. "It was a long time ago. I have received more gratitude than I deserve from you ever since. Tinu is coming to the city to look for greener pastures. You are the only one we know there." Okay, what's going on here? Start out. This woman didn't just practically hand over her little girl to a grown man. Some mothers, she mused. "I thought you would be thinking of university," Stanley said, addressing Tinu. "I am," she replied shyly, "but I need to work first to save up some money. I was thinking I could work for you." Wow, Star thought. What a strategy. She waited for his response, hoping he would see the true motive behind their plan.
In the still of the night, I think of you. My heart beats with every thought of you. You're the one I can't let go. In your arms I find my home.